Hey folks, Fernando doing another video for the Modern Survivalist 2023 World Economic Forum in Davos. We have our good old friend Klaus Schwab there in the background organizing this beautiful event. Before I go on, for many of the things these people have in mind, get my books, Street Survival Skills, Surviving the Economic Collapse. You want to get Surviving the Economic Collapse, giving what they have in mind, which we'll be talking about in a second, and you want to get Street Survival Skills for the practical skills of how life changes, how you need to adapt, and things you need to learn so as to get through life, the world as it will become when this goes down. So these two are strongly linked and related. So let's start with the beginning of this wonderful event in Davos. We have black people singing from Africa. How tone deaf are they? They think that this whitewashes their horrible organization. These are like comic book villains. They think that just because they have a black woman singing with a thing in her head, that makes them all, socially aware or conscious or progressive, whatever bullshit they think they're doing with this. Anyway, I think this is just in poor taste, even for a bunch of greedy, evil people like these. And for those of you that are not familiar with what Davos is the annual meeting in which the richest, most powerful people on the planet, basically the elite, gets together, and at least what they present themselves as is they try to talk about fixing the problems in the world, which is, quite ironic given that they are the ones causing them. In reality, you have really some of the most powerful, richest people in the planet, some of the richest, most powerful organizations, and some of the richest and most powerful families getting together and organizing and collaborating among them so as to increase their power and wealth, while at the same time, politicians, presidents, prime ministers also go here, and in reality, what they do is just take orders from the elite, like, okay, this is the agenda we're going with from now on. That's basically what it comes down to. But I want to show you something else that I think is so interesting, so telling as of what this really is all about.
Distinguished heads of state and government.
I know. A little bit sooner than that. That's Klaus Schwab, right? And Klaus Schwab is really not part of the elite himself. He's more of the guy organizing this.
Thank you, Angelic and Amen, for this musical opening of the meeting.
Oh, yeah, yes, the musical opening of our little meeting. But pay attention.
Your Royal Highnesses.
Ah, there it is. Your Royal Highnesses. Yeah. Your Royal Highnesses. That's the first thing he addresses. That's the first people he greets in the event. Then it goes on.
Excellencies, distinguished heads of state and government, Excellencies.
Royal Highness. Why? Well, because mostly around the world, the elite is also royalty. The royal families, Qatar, the royal family of UK, right? The British royal family is definitely part of that elite, the richest, one of the richest families in the planet. And again, these are families, generations, some of these last names, banking, corporations, they have been there for hundreds of years. Now, specifically when it comes to royalty, this is a, creme de la creme of the elite. These are not only people with, impossible to imagine wealth, there's no way of knowing exactly how much it is, but the power that they have. Literally royalty. Oh, but Fernando, that's just an old institution, a symbol. I've talked with British guys that said just that. They have no idea. They don't even know the power that they have over them. It is royalty, and then there's the peasants, the serfs. But it's not just a figure. It's not just a symbol. No. On paper, on law, they pretty much own everything. They have absolute power. Parliamentary monarchy? Yeah, but monarchy would be the operation word there. They just limit themselves how much power they want for themselves. But in paper, in documents, in what really matters, their power is, royalty. So this goes on, and, making this a little bit shorter, what we see here is more of the same. They're gathering and just saying that everything is terrible, everything is awful, and of course, why? Well, because of a bunch of different reasons. Now, mostly they're talking about how the cost of living is going up and how this is terrible. You're seeing an existential crisis. They're presenting a horrible doom scenario. And, well, they address some of the things that, ironically, they are the ones responsible for.
Extreme wealth and extreme poverty have grown simultaneously for the first time in the last 25 years. That's according to Oxfam. The charity's report, Survival of the Richest, is being presented at the World Economic Forum in Davos. It shows that around 830 million people, in other words,
survival of the rich. Oh, yeah, we're too rich. Let's see how we can get more money so as to make bullshit program that makes us even richer while trying to present it as fair for everyone.
almost 1 in every 10 are facing hunger and starvation. But since 2020, $42 trillion worth of global wealth has been created. Nearly 2/3 of that has gone to the richest 1% of the world population. The remaining third was shared by the 99% at the bottom. The total wealth of the billionaires worldwide has increased by an average of $2.7 billion per.
It's not even a 1%. It's not that 1 out of 100 guys is screwing over the other 99. That's what they want you to think, so that when they come up with regulations that strip you from that man, from your money, because I could easily put myself in that position. I could be that 1%. Right? If I look at it in a global context compared to some of the most, suffering people in the world, I would be in that 1%. It's not a 1%. It's a bunch of elite multi-generation wealth that goes into the trillions and multi-billion dollars. Right? It's not just someone that has, it's making $1 million a year. That's not it. They want you to think that, so when they come after your little wealth, oh yes, we have to, I'm part of that 1%. No, it's not a 1%. It's 20 guys. It's 100 guys. It's just a handful of families, couple corporations that run everything, and they literally own everything. The media, the weapons manufacturers, the pharmaceuticals, food companies. These are the families that own the world, and they want you to think that it's 1%. No, you're not 1%. You're not even 0.00001. No, it's just a handful of people, and they are saying that everything is awful and we're just too rich. We have to find a solution for this. How ironic is it? How perverse? How evil is it?
Now, Charlotte Becker is the Advocacy and Campaign Director for Oxfam here in Germany. Welcome, Charlotte. Charlotte, tell us, how did we get here? How is it that the rich are getting richer and the poor are increasing in number?
Yeah, thank you. I think most important is that billionaires' fortunes have not increased because they are now smarter or working harder. Workers are working harder for less pay and in worse conditions. And that is because the economic system is rigged this way. There are multiple drivers for the vast inequality and rise in extreme poverty we can witness. First, when the COVID-19 pandemic hit, there was already a deeply unequal world with public services that have been stripped. These services largely benefit poorer people, and in particular, women and girls. Second,
women and girls. Well, there's where they throw in all the gender politics, all of the woke nonsense, all of the bullshit so as to distract people. Reality, she's kind of somewhat there, at least getting closer to it in terms of talking about these last couple of years with the pandemic. What they did was close everyone down, close the entire world down, shut down small businesses. And it's not just a matter of, oh yeah, this affects women. Women, really, that's what it affects. It affected every single one that needed to work for a living. Small businesses, entrepreneurs, anyone trying to make something for themselves was stripped of their basic rights. You were forced to stay and couldn't go work. Some of the poorest people that needed to take a public transportation, a bus, a train, go with your car. No, you're not allowed to do that. You have to shut down your restaurant. You have to stay home. We'll give you a handful of cash just to not starve to death, but we're closing down your businesses. While at the same time, the ones benefiting the most, themselves. That's how they transfer all of that wealth from Everyone else to themselves. And what they're looking at right now is, well, this is terrible. Yes, they hear all of this nice presentation. What is it that we have to do? More regulation that will not just, it would be nice for once to honestly have real regulation by which these assholes would pay 2%, even 1% would be nice, given that they don't even pay that. Even if it's 5% of their real actual wealth, globally speaking, but they're not even going to pay that. They will listen to all of this bullshit, which will be tailored so as to not sound just too telling of what's really going on behind those curtains, and then they will use that as an excuse to screw you over even more. They present this scenario, and here is basically in a nutshell what they're looking at in terms of the bullshit that they're coming up with right now. The greatest risk, top 10 risk, please estimate, and cost of living. Oh, well, big surprise. You are the one responsible, and they're going to be looking at what? At Ukraine, at Russia, at climate change. The typical villains of this bullshit narrative that they're going for. As if that could possibly affect how much an egg costs in the United States, or why the price of fuel skyrocketed in the United States when it's fuel independent. Makes no sense. Why is it that it's costing so much to feed yourself in Argentina, where obviously it's one of the most self-sufficient countries in terms of food production? How do you explain that? You explain it by profit from these corporations that basically own everything, and they just blame it on Russia, right? Yeah, sure, Russia, Putin, we know exactly what that guy is and what he's been doing in Ukraine, but that does not justify the hike in price, the hike in your bills. That is just an increase in profit like never before. And we can all see it, but they just keep gaslighting us. Now, looking at it, cost of living, natural disasters, extreme weather events, really, that is something that we're looking at. We've never had weather before. We never had floods. No, this is all new, and it's caused because of what? And look, you see this, you read this, and you know what it is they're going for. In terms of the number one, and it's basically kind of like the same thing, in 10 years, failure to mitigate climate change, really, that will be and how is it possible that if natural disasters and extreme weather is more of a problem right now, how is it that it's less of a priority 10 years down the road? Isn't it kind of, this is all just a huge pile of excuses for what they really try to implement. And what they will really implement is more restrictions, more regulations on you, not themselves. That, of course, will never happen. But less freedom for you. Strip you from your rights, your freedoms, even more so. Strip away every single buck they can. Impoverish you even more with these regulations, while at the same time using the excuse of climate change as to try to feel guilty about it. Oh, you're driving a car, you greedy peasant. You want to have, what, a vehicle of your own? No, take a public transportation. We need to move in private jets. We need to have our mansions that waste and spend energy like 100 households in one. But that's okay because we're super wealthy, so that's fine. This is the way it's going, guys, and the only thing you can do is just prepare, as I talk about here on the channel all the time, as I've explained in my books over the years. These guys are just moving forward with their plan. You will have nothing and you will be happy. Folks, see you on our next video. Take care.